How terrifying are biological weapons? Do you know how horrific it is to be burned alive by white phosphorus? Throughout history, humanity has never stopped developing weapons, from the cold steel of centuries past to today's nuclear age. Countless deadly weapons have been created to take lives. However, due to the cruel and inhumane nature of some weapons, many countries have banned their use. Today's video will introduce you to the 10 most brutal and inhumane banned weapons in the world. Welcome to our channel, where you'll find fascinating knowledge, explorations of the strange and curious, and thrilling stories. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Top 10 Dum-Dum Bullets. These highly lethal bullets were developed by the British in the late 19th century and are known as expanding bullets. Upon entering the body, these bullets expand rapidly, increasing the diameter and surface area, which creates a large cavity within the wound and causes fatal damage. They typically come in 3 types: soft point, hollow point, and explosive rounds. Once inside the body, all types expand to different degrees, causing wounds that are dozens of times larger than the bullet's cross-sectional area. This means that these bullets explode within the body, causing severe, often deadly injuries. A headshot from a dum-dum bullet is almost always fatal, and even hits to limbs have a 20% fatality rate, with the remaining 80% likely resulting in amputation or disability. A hit to the chest is almost certainly fatal. However, dum-dum bullets do have a drawback. They have low penetration power and can be effectively stopped by ordinary body armor. This is because the bullet expands upon impact, increasing its area and reducing its pressure, which significantly decreases penetration power. Due to their horrifying and painful effects on the human body, these bullets have been banned from military use internationally. Top 9 Landmines. These are low-cost defensive weapons well known for creating obstacles and limiting enemy movement. Landmines have been used extensively and effectively in various major battles throughout history. However, mines left behind after wars often injure and kill civilians. It's estimated that leftover mines have killed more civilians than soldiers during conflicts. For example, after the Vietnam War, over 35,000 people had their legs blown off by leftover mines, forcing them to undergo amputations. Additionally, demining efforts are incredibly complex, requiring a significant amount of time and manpower. As a result, mined land often remains unused for long periods, severely impacting local civilians' livelihoods. To this day, Iraq still has approximately 25 million landmines and other unexploded ordnance that need to be cleared. The demining process requires substantial human and financial resources and poses long-term threats to civilians' safety. Due to these reasons, many consider landmines to be inhumane weapons, and they have been banned in various regions. Top 8 Depleted uranium rounds. These armor-piercing rounds are made from depleted uranium, primarily used to penetrate tanks and armored vehicles. Most of their composition comes from nuclear waste, making them a type of radioactive, dirty bomb. Depleted uranium rounds are made from high-hardness uranium alloys, which have high density and melting points. Upon impact, these rounds can generate extreme heat, up to 3,000 degrees Celsius, igniting fires inside the tank and causing lethal damage to its crew. Moreover, the burning of depleted uranium produces radioactive dust, contaminating rivers, soil, and air. Inhaling these particles can cause radiation poisoning, cancer, leukemia, miscarriages, and birth defects. This radioactive contamination can last for decades or even centuries, causing extensive environmental damage. Top 7 Napalm Bombs. The name alone suggests that this is one of the world's most horrific weapons, often leaving lasting psychological scars on those who witness its effects. Napalm bombs contain a gel-like substance made of gasoline and specific chemicals. When they explode, this sticky substance splatters in all directions, adhering to clothes and skin, burning like glue. Its high viscosity makes it extremely difficult to remove. Rolling on the ground or using hands won't extinguish the fire, which may only grow stronger. For victims, nearby water sources or fire extinguishers may be the only means of survival. If not extinguished, the victim will die in excruciating pain. Even if they survive the initial burning, they may die from toxic exposure, as napalm contains numerous chemical accelerants. Burn injuries often leave toxic residues that enter the bloodstream through the wounds, causing severe harm to the body. Top 6. White phosphorus bombs. These terrifying incendiary bombs are even more dreadful than napalm. They primarily consist of white phosphorus, a substance with a low ignition point that spontaneously combusts upon contact with oxygen. White phosphorus bombs are filled with this flammable material, which burns continuously upon contact with objects until it is entirely consumed. When white phosphorus comes into contact with the body, it sticks to the skin and burns relentlessly. You cannot extinguish it easily, and it will burn through skin and muscle to the bone. This substance can reach temperatures up to 2,500 degrees Celsius, reducing human bodies to ashes. Once white phosphorus adheres to skin or clothing, extinguishing it is incredibly difficult. Removing contaminated clothing or cutting away affected skin are the only feasible ways to stop it. Otherwise, those who come into contact with white phosphorus are likely to die a painful death. Although most countries have banned its use, reports occasionally surface of it being used covertly. Top 5. Cluster bombs. They are terrifying weapons capable of turning a wide area into a field with no safe corners. These bombs are composed of hundreds of smaller submunitions. The main bomb contains various types of sub-bombs, including anti-armor bombs, incendiary bombs, anti-runway bombs, and fragmentation bombs. Just one cluster bomb can cover an area roughly the size of a football field. Once deployed, the bomb disintegrates in mid-air, dispersing its numerous submunitions over the ground below, creating a web of destruction that affects every spot in its radius. However, there is a significant drawback. About 30% of these submunitions typically fail to detonate upon impact, especially when landing on soft surfaces. The insufficient impact force can result in unexploded ordnance, which becomes a deadly threat post-conflict. During the Vietnam War, over 250 million submunitions were dropped by the US, with around 80 million failing to explode. These unexploded bombs pose a long-term danger to civilians, with many casualties occurring long after the war has ended. As of 2009, in just one province of Vietnam, approximately 7,000 people had been killed by such remnants. Similarly, in the 1991 Gulf War, thousands of submunitions failed to detonate. Each one, when triggered, can cause fatal injuries comparable to those inflicted by an anti-personnel landmine. This threat has led to widespread condemnation and efforts to ban cluster bombs globally. Top 4. Thermobaric bombs. Also known as fuel-air explosives, are composed of TNT, aluminum powder, and ethylene oxide. The core of the explosion can reach temperatures between 2,500 to 3,000 degrees Celsius, which is hot enough to melt metal and demolish buildings. Any living being in the immediate vicinity would be vaporized. After detonation, air from the surrounding area rushes toward the blast center, creating a high-temperature, high-pressure environment. Anything within this core area is either incinerated or pulverized. Meanwhile, the surrounding zone, with a radius of 300 to 500 meters, experiences a vacuum effect, leading to suffocation. Thermobaric bombs are particularly devastating due to their wide range of lethal effects, making them unsuitable for use in areas where civilians are present. Unfortunately, this consideration is often ignored in practice, resulting in significant civilian casualties. Top 3. Biological weapons. They often referred to as germ or bacterial weapons, consist of bioagents that carry bacteria and pathogens capable of rapidly multiplying within humans, animals, or plants, leading to widespread disease outbreaks. These weapons are highly contagious and can be transmitted through air, droplets, and water sources, affecting various living organisms. Historical pandemics such as smallpox, influenza, the bubonic plague, and cholera are examples of diseases that could be weaponized. Essentially, these deadly epidemics can be deliberately created and unleashed. The most inhumane aspect of biological weapons is their extensive coverage area, often affecting thousands of square kilometers, resulting in many civilians becoming infected. Whenever biological weapons are deployed, they inevitably claim numerous innocent lives, causing long-term, widespread damage to humanity that is difficult to repair. Top 2. Chemical weapons are similar to biological weapons but use toxic chemicals instead of bacteria to cause harm. The most notorious chemical weapon is mustard gas, an organic compound that has a pungent mustard-like smell. Once in contact with humans, mustard gas can cause fatal skin and respiratory tract burns. It primarily enters the body through the skin and respiratory system. Upon exposure, it can cause irreversible damage to bodily functions. What makes mustard gas even more terrifying is the lack of effective antidotes, resulting in a high fatality rate. Mustard gas has been the most widely stored and used chemical weapon to date, accounting for over 80% of known chemical warfare casualties, earning it the title of King of Poison Gases. Like biological weapons, chemical weapons can persist in the soil, air, and water for extended periods, leading to long-lasting environmental contamination that is hard to reverse. Top 1. Nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons are the most powerful and destructive weapons ever created by humanity. The devastation caused by a nuclear weapon is incomparable to that of conventional arms. A single nuclear bomb can level an entire city, generating a high-pressure shockwave that spreads outward at hundreds of kilometers per hour, powerful enough to obliterate most human structures. The most terrifying aspect is the long-lasting radiation emitted after a nuclear explosion, which can persist for hundreds of years. Even if individuals survive the initial blast, many may succumb to radiation sickness, cancer, or chronic diseases over time, while others may suffer from disabilities like blindness and deformities. The area within tens of kilometers of the explosion site will remain unsuitable for any form of life for a long time. Large-scale use of nuclear weapons could also trigger a nuclear winter, drastically lowering global temperatures for months or even years, plunging the planet into a prolonged cold period. The vast amounts of smoke, dust, and radiation would disrupt the atmospheric ecosystem, leading to the breakdown of the food chain and the death of countless plant and animal species. Alright, that wraps up this video. If you found it interesting, please like and subscribe.